Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 2020 Student and Parent Orientation. My name is Dawn Hudson, and I am one of the mentors here at Upper Creek. Just so that you guys know, there is in the Zoom comments, you can make comments, but you can also ask questions, and we've got some people here that can answer those for you, or if you need some more information on what we are talking about, feel free to ask in that comment section. So again, just the structure of the evening is that the student and parent orientation will be first. It should take less than an hour, hopefully. And then at that point, we will pass it over to Shelby, and Shelby will be doing student onboarding. So parents won't need to be there for that, and neither will veteran students. So rookies do need to attend that onboarding. So with that done, we will get started. So this is, again, obviously a very different year with 2020 that we have to do this all over Zoom. I miss seeing all of you guys. I'm much better in person than over Zoom. But I'm glad to have all of you here, and we're really, really glad that we can make any meetings work and still be moving forward. So with that, let's get started. Maybe we'll get started. There we go. Okay, so this is the content that we're going to go over. Again, if you have any questions, please put that into the comment section and we'll get those answered. So first, FRC stands for the First Robotics Competition. And then FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. It was founded by Dean Kamen in 1989. And really, the goals are to inspire young people's interest and participation in science and technology. One of my favorite things about FIRST that I love with not only my own kids that have been through it, but with all of our other students, is that it really encourages all of the gracious professionalism and cooperation. Gracious professionalism is basically how we do everything, that we respect others, that we are gracious in our dealings, that we are kind. Cooperation is that we can cooperate and we can compete at a very high level. And I love that we can do both of those at the same time. And I think that's one of the huge strong points of FIRST, that we're teaching how to compete and how to do things at a really high, excellent level, but that we can do it with that gracious professionalism, that we can have respect for others, that we can be inclusive, that we can be kind. And that's super important. So the great thing also about FIRST is that they have over 660,000 students involved over 4 STEM-focused programs, K through 12. Those 4 are the First Lego League Junior, or FLL Junior, we like to call it. We have First Lego League, FLL. First Tech Challenge is FTC, and then obviously the First Robotics Competition, which is FRC. So tonight we're specifically talking about FRC. So what is FRC? FRC stands for the First Robotics Competition. And each year other than 2020, we develop a completely new robot. It's typically about 5 feet tall, so it's fairly large. It's designed to mimic a typical project to solve a problem with limited time and resources. So it's designed to mimic what you would do in a business setting, or especially in a technology setting. The project is centered around developing a complete robot system, from design, strategy and design, all the way to making it work, software, and everything in between. The competitions resemble a high-energy sporting event, and they're pretty spectacular. And 4,000 teams compete worldwide, 35 countries, 100,000 students. If you've never been to a competition, they're really, really fun. Hopefully we'll get to do one this year. If not, we'll be sad about it, but we'll still be excited to build a robot. So the Gear Alliance is the overriding board for Upper Creek Robotics. So the Gear Alliance is who takes care of all of the programs here at Upper Creek. And the Gear Alliance stands for Growing Engineers Around Robotics. It is a nonprofit organization. It's the umbrella organization that supports all of our programs. And in that, we have our FRC team, we have one FTC team, we have FLL teams, and then we also have FLL junior teams. So here at Upper Creek and with the Gear Alliance, we actually have programs from kindergarten all the way through 12th. So we do the breadth of all of the FIRST robotics here at Upper Creek and Gear Alliance. And the Gear Alliance is really who makes that happen. The things that they do, they manage our facility. They also pay the utilities, gas, lights, rent, all of those super important things that we couldn't do if we didn't have them. So one of the things with the Gear Alliance, though, that we always want to mention is that corporate donations and personal donations obviously can be made to the Gear Alliance. It's how we function. I know a lot of parents, and this is specifically to the parents, there's a lot of companies that will match funds, that will allow you to donate funds with them. And we would love to talk to you about that if you have something like that at your company. I know my own husband for years when he worked for Boeing, that Boeing had some serious sponsorships of all of our programs. And that really helps Upper Creek to do the things, and the Gear Alliance to do the things that we do. And this year, especially because of COVID, some businesses haven't been able to donate the way that they should or the way that they would like to. And so we are asking for parents to look and make sure to see if their companies do donate, because that's something that helps us and to help keep our programs going. So Upper Creek Robotics was founded in 2004. It obviously didn't start as big as it is now. We are now up to about 70 high school students, 20 adult mentors. It is a robotics team, again, centered around the FIRST robotics. So some of the things that our team, we really believe it's a unique opportunity for students to work with professionals in the community on realistic engineering challenges and to have fun. My 3 kids all went through FRC, 2 of them here with Upper Creek, and I have to say that then going into engineering in college, Upper Creek really gave them an amazing foundation, and their mentors here have been a spectacular way to move into college, and I just don't think that they could have had better mentors, better role models, and people that really understand the industries that they're interested in, which was really a spectacular thing for our kids. And I really want parents to notice that and to pay attention to that. So beyond technical skills, though, students do learn leadership. You know, here at Upper Creek Robotics, this is a student-run team. So our students will do everything from administration to, they'll do budgeting, they do design, they do project management. They also learn how to compete for awards, but in doing that, they have to stand in front of people and present their ideas. They have to present themselves. So they do a lot of those soft skills as well. So we're not just training in technology, although that's a big part of it. We're also training the whole person to do and to go and be much better, well-rounded students and hopefully adults. So the other thing that we really focus here at Upper Creek is volunteering in the community and helping to spread the word about STEM. We really want to change our community that we're in. We want to help our community that we're in, and volunteering through Upper Creek is a really great way to do that. So our mentors are amazing people. And I was so blessed to have them in my kids' lives. And that's one of the reasons why I'm still here even after they've graduated, is because I was so impressed by our mentors and so impressed by the time and energy that they give to our students and our kids. So we have 20 plus volunteers, and they give monster amounts of time. And their experience is amazing. So the average years of experience in FIRST is 5+ years, which is pretty astounding. The average years of the STEM industry experience is 20+ years. These are people that have actually been in the STEM industry, have succeeded very well in that industry, and are now giving their time to our students. Teaching experience, 50% of them have over 10 years of experience, 75 have at least 5 years. So not only are they industry professionals, but we also have people who really know and understand how to teach students and teach our kids the skills that they need. Now, one of the really spectacular things about Upper Creek Robotics and its mentors is that we have 3 mentors that have won the first regional's Woody Flower Awards, which is the most prestigious award given to mentors. And we have 3 of them. And that only happens in about 1% of the teams. And the fact that we have 3 of them really shows the level of mentors that we have at Upper Creek. And we are really, really blessed to have them and privileged to have them to teach our kids. So the roles of the mentors, though, sometimes it gets a little confusing as to what a mentor's job really is. So one of the things, though, some of the things, because safety matters, is that all of our mentors have to go through a background check mandated by FIRST, and then they abide by the Gear Alliance's mentor conduct policy. We go over that every year. We check it to make sure that it's appropriate, that we look at it in light of, similar to what coaches or teachers policies would be in our school district. So we're very, very careful about our mentors and the safety of our students. So mentors are teachers and collaborators and coaches and chaperones. However, mentors are not babysitters. They are not disciplinarians. Well, maybe I am, but the majority of them are not. And they're not janitors. So we're really here to teach and to coach. We are not here to babysit, to discipline. And we want kids and students who really want to be here. And we are thrilled when people are excited, kids are excited to be here. And because of that, students who do not behave appropriately will simply be asked to leave. This isn't someplace that they have to be. This is someplace that we want them to be. And because of that, they need to behave in a manner that's appropriate for, let's say, a workplace. We know that they're still teenagers. We understand that. Most of us are parents, so we really understand that. But this is something that's important to us because we want to create a place where you can learn and grow and reach their potential. And to do that, everybody needs to behave with that gracious professionalism and that cooperation. So the leadership team here at Upper Creek. So obviously the Gear Alliance is our board of directors, and they are at the very top. Underneath that here at Upper Creek is we have a lead mentor that handles all of the technical teams, and all of those technical sub teams are under that. And then this year we added an operations mentor. And that operations mentor handles all of the other things below it. So you can see all of these teams that you can see under here. Obviously, the blue ones are technical. The pinkish ones are all of our leadership. And then all of the green are more of our operations end. Each of these teams has student leads. So they have a mentor, or mentors, and then they have student leads. And those lead mentors and those student leads work really closely together to do all of the things that a team would need to. They schedule time, They figure out what they need done. They manage their people. They manage their resources. And then each of those sub-team leads, our students, are in a rotating steering committee along with our lead technical, there you go. We changed the names this year. Our lead technical program manager and then our lead operations project manager. So all of our sub-teams rotate in and out of that steering committee. And then as a team lead, sub-team leads, we meet once a week as well. So it's really an impressive structure, and I've seen kids really grow in leadership abilities, in taking responsibility, in learning that when leadership isn't just telling other people what to do, but it's really leading by example. It's making sure that the people underneath us have everything they need to be successful. It really is leading by example. And I really love that about Upper Creek, that it really teaches our kids that. And that by the end, by senior year, we have some really spectacular kids that know how to work, that know how to do the technical things, but also know how to work in a team and to lead a team, which I think is really amazing. So, again, we've talked a little bit about community and outreach, and Upper Creek Robotics feels very strongly about that. And because of that, now, of course, again, it is 2020 and COVID has changed a lot of the things that we've done. But at the heart of Upper Creek, we really think it's very important to be a part of our community, to help our community, and to step into some of those leadership roles as well. So some of the things that we've done and we'll hopefully get to do as well in the future is to be a part of the community block parties. We usually, and I think that we're going to be able to figure out how to do this year as well. And we deliver 100+ food baskets to the needy around Christmas time. We run summer camps. So we'll run in the summer, summer camps for kids kindergarten all the way through high school, to introduce them to STEM, to introduce them to robotics. We help with any of our supporters activities, and we do thousands of volunteer hours in our team. We also run all of our high schoolers, or some of our high schoolers run our First Lego League teams. So we've got high schoolers who do a spectacular job training and mentoring our 4th through 8th graders. And then when we have our junior FLL, they also mentor our littlest roboticists, our kindergartner through 3rd grade. So thousands of volunteer hours happen through Upper Creek Robotics, which I think really gives our students really well-rounded abilities. One of the other things that we do here at Upper Creek Robotics is that we mentor other robotics teams. And that's a really great thing, to be able to share the things that you've learned with others. And that teaches us more, but it also teaches others and brings more people into the FIRST community, which we obviously feel is very, very important. So, awards, you can see the blue banners. Let's see, can I show you? We like the blue banners. It's not really why we do everything, but we like them. They're awfully pretty. So some of the awards that we have gotten, and in 2020 to have gotten any awards at all is really spectacular. We were very, very fortunate that we got to go to one of the first competitions in 2020 before everything was shut down. And because of that, we have one of the few 2020 blue banners for the Great Northern Regional. We have the Autonomous Award, which I think is the first time we've ever gotten the Autonomous Award. And the Autonomous Award is obviously for that first 30 seconds of competition play. So in a competition, if you haven't seen them, it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds competing, and the first 30 seconds are all autonomous. So the robot has to be fully programmed to do what it needs to do. And then the next 2 minutes, it's in teleop mode. So we're very, very proud of the fact that we got our very first autonomous award this year, and that really speaks to the level of software and programming that our kids have. And our kids really do all the work here at Upper Creek Robotics. Mentors and coaches watch and they advise and teach, but really the kids do the work. And so we're very, very proud of that autonomous award. One of the other first things that we had this year that we haven't had before is that one of our kids actually won the very, very prestigious Dean's List finalist award. And so we're very, very proud of our Emma this year that we finally moved into that award. And that speaks a lot about the caliber of kids that come into Upper Creek and the amount of work that they do, not only in robotics, but this shows their leadership ability. This also shows their community outreach. So the fact that we've gotten some of those awards this year really has been a great thing for Upper Creek Robotics. So academics matter, and academics matter to all of us here at Upper Creek Robotics. And you will often hear us saying that academics every time will trump our robotics and the things that we do, that we want our kids to be focused and our students to be focused on their academics. And oftentimes you'll walk in here and there'll be a mentor who's teaching or tutoring, calculus, or going over physics problems with our kids. I know that I personally have looked at a lot of English papers to edit them and check for grammar and things of that nature. So we really do, it matters to us that our kids' academics, our students' academics are important. And that shows in what happens when they graduate from not only their high schools, but from Upper Creek. And so we think it's very, very telling that our academic results, that 100% of our students here at Upper Creek have graduated high school, and 95% of them that have gone into college are pursuing STEM degrees. So 95% of our graduates are pursuing STEM degrees. And we think that that speaks a lot to the fun and the enjoyment and the level of the things that they learn here at Upper Creek, that it's not just something that they learn, that it's something they enjoy, it's something that they want to pursue. And you can see all of the different colleges here that our graduates have gone to, and they're all very impressive. And I really, really like to see that. As a mom, that gave me great comfort. That I knew that my priorities were the same priorities that Upper Creek mentors had, and they really did help my kids to step into that and then move into the degree fields that they were really interested in. You can also see other highlights. We've had valedictorians, salutatorians, we've had merit scholarship semifinalists, we've had Betcher semifinalists. This last year we had a Betcher finalist. And all of those things go to show, again, the level of kid, but also the level that all of Upper Creek, we want to do that together. So we want to do that as a community and as a team, that we want to pull everyone up and get to that level. And we're very proud of that. And we're very proud of our kids that work so, so hard. So what the season looks like. Again, I'm going to make that this is a normal season. This isn't necessarily a COVID season, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So normally our seasons look like that September through December. We have weekly meetings Tuesday and Thursday for most. And those are all usually training meetings. So our fall meetings are really, really important. And they are this year as well. That our fall meetings is where we train the kids to do the things that we're going to ask them to do in January when our competition comes out. So if you miss the fall meetings, then you're not going to be able to know the things that you need to know in January. You know, right now, all of our fab team is going over how to use all of the machines, how to do the things that they need to do to build the parts. Our CAD team is learning the software. They're learning how to design. Our software team is going through all of the programming that they need to and understanding. Our strategy team is learning really what strategy is and how we think ahead and how we plan. Our controls is learning about, you know, electrical engineering and how to wire the thing. So it's really important that September through December that our kids are here when our meetings are for those, so that they learn the things that they need to learn by January, because it's no fun if the challenge drops and, you know, you want to be a part of building that robot and you just don't know how to. So that's what we do in the fall, is we do a lot of that training so that the kids can do their very, very best in January. So the 1st of October is our cutoff for new members joining. And again, that same reason is because we need to train them. We need time to educate and go through all of our learning curriculum. So our teams, the majority of our teams have actual learning curriculum that they need to go through in the fall to get our kids up to speed. So obviously tonight is the student and parent orientation. On October 9th, one of the things that we do want to make sure that we're doing is we're bringing all of our new rookies in with us. And so is this right? Yeah. So Friday, our game night is so that our rookies and our sub team leaders can really get to know each other. And we really want to bring those rookies in so that they know and feel a part of our community, because this really is not just a team, but a community. And we want those rookies to come in and start to develop those relationships. Because this year is a little odd, we're also having a team trivia night on the 16th of October online. All of the game night and the team trivia night are online. But we still want to get that community. And one of the things that I know that we've been talking about in the steering committee with our student leadership is that we need to think about different ways to build those relationships, to build that community, that's really important to us, that we spend the time to build the community that we have here. And so those are some of the ways that we are working on doing that. December 12th, we do have a holiday party scheduled. I haven't quite figured out how we're going to do that quite yet with COVID. So we're going to keep that on the burner for right now while I try and figure out how to make that work safely for all of us. January 9th is our build season kickoff. And that is a super exciting day, because in normal years, that's when the challenge totally drops. This year, I think we'll know some new things, but we're taking, first is really rolling over last year's competition. And you can see that's why we still have our field built here, is because we think it's going to be, according to First, it's going to be a very similar game, if with just some tweaks. So our field is up, but that January 9th is something to put on your calendar. Your kids do not want to miss January 9th, because that's also when we start strategizing. That's when we start designing. That's when we start thinking about, what do we want our robot to do? What does it need to look like? What are the things? What are the rules? All of those things. And that's really the start and the heart of our build season. So put that on your calendar now. Once upon a time, I planned a vacation leaving on that day, and my children had a fit and I had to change airplane tickets. So put it on your calendar now. So usually January through April is kind of the build season and the competition season. Again, this year, we're just not quite sure what it looks like. Normally, we go to an out-of-state regional in the beginning of March, and then the Colorado competition is usually March 25th, and then championship is normally in that mid-April timeframe. But we're not quite sure. First sounds like they're possibly pushing those out into the summer, or they may be more online. So we're really working to make sure that our kids are competing with their robots somewhere in some fashion, but we don't have the same level of assurances that we would in normal years. However, again, we think it's really important that kids have a goal, that kids have a reason that they're doing all of this work. And not to mention, we like competing as well. All of us like competing. It's fun. It's fun to build something and then compete with it, and hopefully to do really, really well. So we will figure something out. There will be something for our kids to compete with. It just might not look the same as it normally does. So we normally have our team banquet on May 8th, and many of you know that obviously we had to push it back this year, and we had it in the middle of July outside on our field. And that worked really great. And it's kind of the same thing that this year we're really, really working to think about creative ways that we can work around these events so that everybody can be safe, that we are keeping our community safe, keeping our individuals safe, but also being a community, doing the things that we've always done to the best of our ability. If you have any questions about the season calendar, that calendar is hopefully always up to date there on our website. So again, 2021 competition details. This is going to be different than it normally is. The competition, the season kickoff is, as usual, in early January, the 9th of January. So again, I mentioned that the 2021 game will be based on the 2020 game, Infinite Recharge. Again, that's why our field is the same. So we're not necessarily anticipating participation at in-person competitions because none of them have been formally announced. Or if there are, they may be single-day events, not like we've done in the past where we've traveled a day and traveled a day at the end, and it's been 4 or 5 days with a 3-day actual competition. We don't think that will happen, and that's not what FIRST is saying right now. So they may reduce the number of on-site participants and no spectators. They may be potentially later in the year. But it looks like what FIRST is saying right now is that there will be some sort of robot skills challenge to virtually compete in. Like if we completed them here at HQ, there will be a variety of judged awards. Remotely judged, including technical robot ones like our autonomous or excellence in engineering, both of which we've had here at Upper Creek, our rookie game changer, industrial design, quality, our chairman's awards. So some of our blue banners that you see back there are for chairman's awards. And chairman's awards are the highest honor that you can get as an FRC team. And chairman's awards really are based on your community outreach. They are based on how you spread the word of FIRST. They are based on how you bring other people into STEM. And so Upper Creek Robotics has won that several times. And that's really a huge honor for us. And so we can still compete with that. Obviously, we usually have kids competing in the Dean's List that we've talked about, and then that Woody Flowers for our most amazing mentors. And so all of those we will also still try to compete at this year, and those should be all online instead of in person. So a meeting overview, just so that you know, in normal years, and I think most of this, unless your kids' teams are virtual, this is really the format of our teams, our team meetings. So in the first 5 to 10 minutes, They're spent kicking off with meeting with updates, reminders, announcements. This is when our sub-team leads and our student leadership really do a scrum meeting with all of our students, so everyone is on the same page, everyone knows what we're working on. This is also why it's really important for our students to get here on time, because we do that in our first 5 to 10 minutes. And then the majority of the team meeting is spent on sub-team specific activities. So the things that we said we're going to focus on at the beginning in our scrum meeting, usually that's what then the sub-teams focus on. And then this is why our students need to stay later, is because then we spend the last 15 to 20 minutes cleaning. This is a big building. We pull out a lot of tools and we do a lot of things. So we need to clean it, especially for the other teams, because not only does FRC meet in here, but we've got our first Lego League kids, and we have, you know, multiple teams of FLLers that come in that we need to, you know, we don't want big equipment or things that they can hurt themselves on. We also have an FTC meeting that team that meets in here. So we want to make sure that we are respecting the space as well. And we want to make sure we clean up after ourselves. So obviously the September through December meetings are 6 to 9, Tuesday and Thursday, depending on the sub-team. Again, your students' teams may be meeting at different days and different hours if they're meeting virtually. And I do know that some sub-teams right now are meeting on Saturday or meeting in different hours. And we're really trying to make sure that we keep headquarters very safe, with wearing masks, with checking for temperatures, with socially distancing. But part of that is also we need to separate some of our teams, because there are nights in non-COVID times that we have 80 people here, and we just can't do that right now. So you know, you can check with your students, and those students, obviously, some of those meetings are on Saturdays. I know some virtual ones are on Mondays, or so we're really trying to stagger those so that everyone's safe and all of our teams are safe. January through April meetings, again, this might change because of COVID. In normal years, build season, you know, we're here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 6 to 9, and then Saturday, 9 to 6, and Sunday, 1 to 9. Basically, if we can be here, we generally are during build season. But this year, again, we may need to do different things because of COVID. Also because our FLL teams and our FTC teams competition have been pushed back. And so they may be here during our normal build season. So we're gonna have to change some of our hours. So this is what we normally do in normal years, but we just wanna caution that we may need to have changes because of COVID. So your kids should know that. Parents, you can also have them check with their sub-team leads and their mentors, specifically about their meeting times and their meeting places this year. All right, competition schedule. Again, this is on a non-2020 COVID year. So usually out-of-state regionals will do 1 to 2 a year. We'll do a road trip starting on Wednesday morning. This last year to North Dakota, we got on a bus and we traveled for 18, 19 hours, I think. We were mostly okay by the end of it. There was some throwing up, but other than that, we were mostly fine. So we usually road trip, and then the event is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We work hard, we play hard, and then we work some more. We usually have a team dinner Saturday night, and then we return home. From that team dinner, we usually get back in our cars or our buses and drive. Colorado Regional is super nice because it's usually at the University of Denver. The event is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We carpool from here, from the headquarters usually, and then we usually have a big team dinner on Saturday night. So the championship in Houston, which I'm going to go with, we usually go to. That's a little arrogant, but on the 14 on the years that I've been here, we've gone to a championship every year. So that's a really fun event. And we usually typically fly because we don't want to drive to Houston. So we usually fly out Wednesday morning. And the event starts Wednesday afternoon and then goes all day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with Saturday night being all of the awards. And then we fly back to Colorado on Sunday. These are so amazing. And parents, if and when we get to all go, I would really, really encourage you to try and go to at least one, despite what your kid may say. Just because they are so amazing, and it's so amazing to watch your kids do things that you never thought that they could. I remember that one of the first times I went, watching my then little 14-year-old girl who was not very tall, and she dyed her hair blue, so she had bright blue hair, and she was just in there working with tools, working on a robot, and I was so amazed and so pleased. And it's really great to see your kids in those situations. Not to mention, we as mentors, when we're at a competition, we usually have jobs to do, working, making sure that everybody's gotten food, making sure that everybody's where they're supposed to be, not to mention, building a robot, doing all of the outreach events, doing all of the judging and the awards. So it's really important for us to have parents who can help us in managing kids and food and all of those things. So in normal years, and it may be this year too, we're just not sure, having parents involved is really important. And again, I'm going to go and say that as a parent, it was one of the most amazing things to watch my kids really step into something incredible. So that's normal competition schedules overviews. And again, 2020, 2021, we'll see how all of that works. Let's see, skills and learning. So this isn't just about building a robot. It isn't just about winning. It's fun to win. We really like it. But there's actually things that are more important to us here at Upper Creek Robotics and the Gear Alliance. And some of those are the learning exercises and across a variety of disciplines, the safety and proper use of tools, the mechanical, electrical, and software design and fabrication. My daughter could use, by the time she graduated, she could pretty much do any of the machines, thanks to our amazing mentors in Fab, to do any of the machines in the Fab. She could build things. She could make parts. My son could actually, he's an aerospace engineer in school right now, and he could design things out of CAD and designing things that he shouldn't be able to do, and has done very, very well. And a lot of it is because of the skills that he learned right here at Upper Creek. And I know our programmers, it's the same thing, that the skills they learn are real life skills that then they can take into college and obviously beyond. Competition strategy. I think that strategy and to think strategically is really important. Marketing, we do a lot of marketing. Essay writing, we have to do essay writing for all of our chairmans and all of our awards, and they learn that from people that write essays and project proposals and things of that nature for big companies. And so those kind of skills are really important. And how amazing is it that they can learn that still in high school? Photography and video, we've had awards because of our photography and our videos. They learn how to edit. They learn how to digitally edit some of those things and edit our videos. They're amazing skills. Outreach, they learned how to pull a community together. They learn how to make an event, to plan an event, to do things that pull people together and can really help. Team spirit, we always have to have people with team spirit. But that really teaches all of us as well how to stay positive when things don't go as well. And that's something that is a skill to learn. This year, we all kind of need that skill. Fundraising and accounting. Our kids learn how to put a fundraiser together. They learn how to balance a budget, a big budget. I mean, better than their allowance budget. So, you know, all of those skills and how to account. And I remember one year walking back into our admin office, and they were back there doing taxes. And I thought, holy cow, we've got 16-year-olds, you know, learning how to do business taxes. And I found that absolutely amazing. So, but with all of that learning, mentors are here to lead and teach, but we also expect those students then to step in to that with a level of maturity, that they are here to learn new skills. We do have fun, and again, we expect them to still be teenagers. However, they are here to learn and to grow, and they get to do amazing things. And we really do believe in active student involvement. It really is why the Gear Alliance exists. It's why Upper Creek Robotics exists, so that we can train our students, to train our next generation. And we here at the Gear Alliance and Upper Creek Robotics feel really strongly about that. All right, let's see. General policies. So again, we talked a little bit about what mentors' jobs are. They're not to be disciplinarians. We're here to mentor and to teach and to guide. So there are some general policies that we have very little tolerance for breaking. Again, we understand that they're teenagers, but we also expect them to be mature teenagers and to understand the rules, and to understand that we're here to accomplish something. So trust. We really do trust our kids until proven otherwise. And I'm not sure that we've had a whole lot of this. I can't actually think of anything at the moment. So any dishonesty or theft is subject to immediate removal from the team. And that's theft from the team, theft from anybody in our building, theft from team funds. Any of those things are just a no-go. Safety. We work with a lot of crazy, well, they're not crazy, but there are a lot of tools, and they are tools that could be dangerous if they aren't used properly, which is why we have mentors that train everyone in that safety and how to use them safely. So it's very important that our students treat that with the respect it deserves. You know, we understand that we want to have fun, but we have fun safely. And that's the only way that we can do the things that we do. So any unsafe behavior is also subject to immediate removal from the team. And that's for our students' sake as well as our own sake. We need everyone to stay safe. We need everyone to be trustworthy. In that, safety glasses need to be worn in the machine shop at all times. No open toe or heel shoes. You need to wear good shoes here. Long hair pulled back. I'm not in the machine shop, so I'm okay today. No loose clothing or jewelry, especially when working with machines. No using tools until trained by a mentor. Again, we want to train our kids and we want them to do amazing things, but they have to be trained to do so. We respect the property and others. That's back to that gracious professionalism. And we are very grateful that we have been donated this building and the use of this building. Not very many teams have the ability to have this, and so we want to treat it with respect. We want to quietly pay attention while others are talking. We need to remember that this is a privilege. Upper Creek Robotics is a privilege, and we want to treat it as such. We're going to keep the headquarters clean and organized. Make sure you bring a water bottle. Make sure your students bring a water bottle with them, because, well, it's just better than always having to go back and forth and have cups everywhere. And it's also better for the environment if we can just bring a water bottle and save those disposable things. Be at the meetings the entire time. I think we talked about that for the most part. We understand that, you know, things happen, or kids need to leave, or their ride needs to leave. But for the most part, we expect that 6 to 9 on the nights that they're here to be here. For weekday and evening meetings, especially during COVID, we're asking that everybody eat dinner beforehand or afterwards, just because we generally have our masks on, or we do have our masks on the whole time while we're here. And so eating is really difficult with your mask on. And then again, do not be late. And that's because our first 5 to 10 minutes, we are doing you know, lead meetings, and we're doing our scrum meetings and announcements and all of those things to get everybody on the same page. And so that's important. All right, just to go over quickly COVID-19 policies. You guys have all been doing this. So again, face masks must be worn at all times inside the HQ and outside, or they need to be social distance 6 feet of others. But inside the building, we are asking that everyone wear masks unless you're on a Zoom meeting with the whole team, because that would be really difficult to do in a mask. Hands must be cleaned. We have either sanitizer or soap and water there, sanitizer at the door. We want them to make sure that they lather up at the door, or go right into a bathroom or the kitchen to wash their hands. Entry into HQ must be through the east door, so that's in the back. That's because that's where we're going to take their temperature. We're going to ask them some questions, and we're going to have them sanitized, because everybody who comes in, we just need to do that to be as safe as possible. So they need to have their mask on when they come in, pass a temperature check, pass the health declaration questions, and have that consent and release agreement and COVID-19 waiver signed and turned in. Parents, please wait until you know that your kids have passed all of that before you leave. Don't just drop them off. We need you to wait until they have been passed for that. All right, to make the team successful, we want to have fun. Having fun is important. But we want also kids who are committed, kind of like sports, right? This is a team, and we all win or lose together. And so when we're together, this is better. We ask that you not miss any more than 3 fall Tuesday meetings, whether virtual or in person, because again, we need everyone to learn the things that they need to learn before build season. Be willing to try new things. There's a lot of new things here. And you may think that you're just a software person, but you know what? If you go in and try Fab, you might learn, wow, this is really spectacular. Or if you're a software or a Fab person, you might want to go, you know what? I want to know how we design these parts. So be a little brave. Sometimes it's hard to be brave, but this is a really safe place to do it. Be brave. Step in. Do something that you haven't done before, and I promise that you probably are going to learn something, and it might be just the thing that you've always wanted to do. So directly after this, which is mandatory for all students who join the team after May 9th. Its purpose is to introduce new students to the team culture, and it's going to occur, like I said, right after this. So students who miss that, of course, you guys are watching, so hopefully you won't miss it. We'll need to watch the recorded session. And all right, expectations of parents. So to help make the team successful, we need to ensure the students arrive early and leave on time. Again, we need them here before 6 o'clock, and we need them picked up at 9 o'clock. And this really helps our mentors, but it also helps our kids, especially getting here on time. But if we can make sure that parents, you are here at 9 o'clock, because these mentors have, you know, jobs, they have families, they may not have had dinner yet. And if your kids are still here, then they can't go home and do the things that they need to do. So I'm asking you to respect their time and be here on time. Again, we understand emergencies happen, so text us and let us know if that happens. But for the majority of time, if we can just be here by 6 and leave at 9, that would be great. So normally during build season, we have the expectation of one team meal or a lump sum of $250. But this could be revised due to COVID-19. So we're going to talk about that later because I'm not quite sure how we're going to do that just yet. So how parents can help, we talked about it a little bit. Meal coordination during build season and during competition is always helpful. Carpooling, because students are not allowed to drive themselves to events. They may drive themselves to the headquarters, but after that, if we're going to an event, students may not drive themselves. Fundraising, if you have the ability to fundraise or grant write, we need those help. Field construction, sponsor recruitment, we always need more sponsors, and especially this year we do. Organizing and participating in social and community events, we need parents. Team accounting, it's always helpful to have more of that. Vending machines, to stock our vending machines. Student fundraiser manager, that may look a little bit differently. FLL tournament volunteers, again, this year that's going to look a little differently. Girl and Boy Scout affiliations, again, going to look a little differently. So maybe we'll send out an email more in the future about exactly what we need parents to do. But I can tell you right now, parents can fundraise, parents can grant write, and make sure that or checking with their companies to see if there are matching funds or any way to donate to nonprofit organizations. Because again, several of our sponsors we've not been able to have this year because of COVID. And so luckily we're fine, but it really would be great if we could get a few more to fill out our budget. All right, team funding help. So here's some of the things that you can do. Make all Amazon purchases via smile.amazon.com with the Gear Alliance. It's not going to say Up a Creek. It's going to say Gear Alliance. Your employer, again, make donations based on how many hours you help our team, and may match donations you make to our team, or be willing to check or be willing to sponsor our team. So please, parents, check that out. All right, approximate season costs. So obviously the things in black are mandatory. Dues are mandatory, obviously, and it's $360 a year. Now, we do have scholarships available because we want this to be a team for as many people as possible. So if you know, parents, that you'll need some help with that, we want your kids here. So please see me or see Teresa or see Kathy, and or your kids' mentors, your students' mentors can help them find out who that is. But we have, those dues are $360, and I believe the first payment is in October and the last payment is in December. Again, here's some of our, we usually have a build season. You need to do at least 1 to 2 build season meals to feed about 50 people, or you can pay $250. This year, we're not sure how that's going to work. So that's that number. Out-of-state regional competition usually is about $350. Colorado is about $50. And championship is about $750. And then 2 tickets for the parents for our end of the year banquet is $20. All of those grade stuff we'll probably have to get back to you based on what's happening this year because of COVID. But you might want to put in the dues in your budget, just so that you know. So here's all of the things that our dues go to. I'm running out of time, so I'm kind of talking really, really quickly. So the dues are, you know, financial, we've talked about the financial commitments. So what you get for that $360 is your kids will get obviously safety glasses, they'll get a polo, they'll get a t-shirt, a ticket to the end year banquets. And then those dues really do pay for the things that we have to have here at Up a Creek, like our building and the lights and the tools and all of the electricity that we use. So the first installment of our dues are the 15th of October. The entire dues are due the 1st of December, and payments are going to be made by MIMS this year. So make sure you and your child are signed up for MIMS. And I know that we have information, we've been sending information on that. If you don't know what that is, you can contact us at our email address. Normally dues can be offset by earning credits like teaching summer camps, but this year that didn't happen. So that's going to be a little bit different. All right, building access. So this is another thing that's a little odd this year. Normally kids can get a key card for a $10 deposit, and they can get into the machine shop and the building during meeting hours. Because of COVID, that's a little different. They can't get in except with a mentor meeting them at the door. So that's a little bit different this year. All right. So we've talked about kind of our each meeting, starting with an announcement. Outside of meetings, email is our primary form of communication, and we also use Slack for inside the team communication. Be sure to check our team communication emails for anything in that before a team meeting, and check them often because we send a lot of things out. All right, registration. Again, here's MIMS, and I think you can register at mims.gearalliance.org. You can take a picture of this to get you there. So, and really MIMS is so that we can get rid of papers, so that we can have everything in one place. This will help us be way, way, way more organized, which will really make me happy. So we need all of our waivers signed through that, all of our health information, all of those things are going to be through MIMS. All right, so, wow, we're really, really high tech. So you can take a picture of those and get to our website, our YouTube channel, our registration, all the things. And make sure that you're on our email list. So completing the student and parent agreement inside of MIMS will get you there. So that's going to be important. If you have a problem with getting into MIMS, email us and we will make sure that we take care of that. All right. Matthew, do we have any questions that I need to answer? We are a 501c3 nonprofit. So anything donated to us is through that 501c3, and that's through the Gear Alliance. Was there anything else? So if you are interested, Matthew just mentioned that if you are interested, and please be interested in getting a sponsorship, you can get more information on that by emailing finance@uacr.com, right? Yes. What is it? Team 1619. Yeah. Yeah, either way. Right, oh yeah, right there. So, but you can email us and we will get you that information. Anything else?
Dawn?
Any of those other questions?
Yes.
So sponsorship,
Yes.
financial stuff, please email us and we will get that email sent to the right person, Teresa, and we will get back to you on that. But we really, really need your help this year. So
Okay.
if you
Dawn,
that would be
can
spectacular.
I mention something, Dawn? It's Teresa.
All right.
Can I mention something?
Well, I think I am over. So I'm going to pass this over to Shelby. So I'm going to stop screen sharing. And it might just take a second, so just hang on. Parents, thank you for coming. We appreciate you. If you have any questions, please email us and we will get those answered as quickly as possible. Veteran students, you don't have to be on here anymore. Rookies, however, we need you to stay. because there's important information that you need to know. So thank you guys for sharing your evening with me. Thank you for putting up with me as I talk really, really fast. And again, if you have any questions, please email us. Give us just a second to switch from my computer over to Shelby's computer.
Dawn, can you put the MIM back up?
Okay, so it's Teresa. When you guys register for MIMS, the student will register first, and then they will receive an email that asks them to verify their email address. And once they have verified their email address, then an email will go out to the parents to sign the actual forms, because the forms are a legal document and we need adults to sign them. So the process is, first the student signs up, they verify their address, and then the parents sign up and sign the waiver forms. So that is the process. And if something hiccups in the way, then I'll be reaching out to help you guys through that process. Again, it's mims.gearalliance.org. MIMS, mims.gearalliance, one word, .org.
So firstly, we're going to talk about some general team information, then we'll talk about team culture, communication, and HQ organization. Just like with what Dawn was saying, some things are not particularly relevant just due to COVID situations, but still good information to know for whenever things possibly get back to a more regular thing. So firstly, we'll talk about some general team information. Firstly, there's over $80 million in scholarships available to all students on first teams, just for being on a first team. So because you're on Upper Creek, you're eligible to apply for any of those scholarships. Some of them are school or degree specific. They're not all STEM related, and some of them are super open-ended for any school or any major. A lot of them are for juniors or seniors to apply for, but it's still important that you look into those early, know what's available for you and things like that. And then applications are due throughout the year, so it's always good to just check and have an idea about what's available to you. We'll also talk about behavior. So just in terms of etiquette around the building and at competitions and events, we don't want to talk about poorly about anyone or anything really for any reason. Yeah, just generally want to avoid that kind of thing. Dawn mentioned gracious professionalism a little bit. You know, we're all about like lifting our teammates up, lifting up other teams, just making sure everyone's doing the best and being the best they can possibly be. And so we want to make sure that we are doing that at all times when we're at Upper Creek, and hopefully that's something you can apply outside of the team also. Additionally, anything that you do reflects on everyone involved in our program. So if you're at the building, if you're wearing an Upper Creek t-shirt anywhere, anything that you do is reflected upon our team. And so you're representing more than 100 people anytime you do anything, whenever you're wearing team apparel or anything like that. So you just always want to keep that in mind when you're at the building, when you're wearing a team shirt or anything like that. Additionally, honesty is always the best policy. If something breaks or you're going to be late to something or whatever, you know, don't make up excuses, just own your mistakes. I can almost guarantee someone else has done it before. So really there's no reason to do anything or be anything except honest about anything that happens. Lastly, we have some image standards. This is something that doesn't necessarily apply because we won't be doing a lot of things that aren't directly at HQ or via like Zoom. But whenever we are volunteering, we do want to wear like team shirts or polos, long pants or shorts that don't have any rips or no like sweats or anything like that. And then we always want to wear closed-toed shoes. The closed-toed shoes, really anytime you're doing anything related to the team, you want to be wearing closed-toed shoes. whether you're at the building or at an event or anything like that. It's just a good idea. Then we'll talk about team culture a little bit. So again, Dawn and I both have talked a little bit about gracious professionalism, and we keep bringing it up because it's a really, really important policy. It's a good way to conduct yourself, to live your life. It's one of the cornerstones of FIRST. So we always just want to act with kindness, respect, and consideration, even through the heat of competition. So even if we're stressed out about school or a bad match or anything, we always want to act with kindness, expect that other people are doing their best, expect that everyone is just doing the best they can possibly do, and give everyone the benefit of the doubt. If anything happens, really, you just want to help each other out and have each other's backs. So I think we're going to skip the video because they're a little weird over Zoom. So additionally, every part of our team is really important, especially with the way things are set up right now. Things seem a little segmented, but all of our sub-teams on our team work for the same goals. We work for the same successes, and we all rely on each other. We wouldn't be able to build a robot if we didn't fundraise for that robot. We wouldn't be able to build a robot if we didn't design the robot and then fabricate the robot and then assemble the robot and program it. So everything is related, and everyone's just as important as anyone else. These are just some examples of our different kind of subgroups and ways that they contribute to our team. So I won't go over each of them, but each thing is really important, and can't emphasize enough how much everything that the team does matters to the success of the team and to our team goals. So then we'll talk a little bit about excellence. Excellence is really a cornerstone of our team. It's important because we are more likely to be successful when we practice excellence in everything we do. We want to demonstrate attention to detail because that helps build confidence in ourselves and from other teams, from members of the community, from our sponsors. So we really want to be reliable in our excellence. It can take more time initially, but in the end, you'll save time because you're consistent again and you're reliable. We do expect everywhere on the team to have a high level of excellence and commitment to kind of that brand and that culture. And again, it doesn't just happen, and it can take a bit of work on the front end, but in the end, it'll be worth it to spend time ensuring a high level of detail. And then just like with the honesty thing, we want to hold ourselves accountable, hold each other accountable, and to a high standard. If you cross-thread a bolt or something like that, just say, hey, I cross-threaded this, we need to fix it. You don't want to send that part or that component of the robot into competition knowing that it might not be exactly how it should be. We'd rather fix it on the front end than have to deal with it later on. And then again, you want to document processes that were successful so we can help maintain that culture of excellence. Dawn talked a little bit about safety things. Some of these only apply to kind of working on the robot or working in the machine shop. But some of these are kind of at all time things. So again, closed-toed heels and, closed-toed shoes we want to wear at all times in the building, at all of our events and things like that. And that's just kind of a basic safety thing. You never know whenever you'll be around the robot or around machinery. So you kind of want to be prepared for that. Safety glasses want to be worn at all times whenever you're near a potential hazard. If we are prototyping a shooter, if we are doing driver practice, if we're in the machine shop, those are times when we'll want to be wearing safety glasses because things happen and we want to make sure we're prepared for those safety incidents so they're not safety incidents. We also, if we are in the machine shop or working on robots, we want our hair pulled back, no loose clothing or jewelry, Don't use tools if you haven't been trained on them. And this goes for, you know, power drills and things like that. If you've never used a drill before, go ahead and let a mentor know, hey, I haven't drilled a hole before. Can you help teach me how to do this? And then they can teach you, watch you, help make sure you have the best safe practices. And this goes along with excellence as well. So if something's damaged or not functioning properly, if it's making a weird sound, things like that, just don't use it. Let a mentor know. You don't want to just like pull it apart and try to fix it on your own. It's best practice to just let a mentor know that that tool is not working properly, so we can make sure we get it fixed before it gets worse. And then this just bottom thing is unsafe behavior could be grounds for immediate removal from the team. Obviously, we don't want to do anything like that, but if we have to, we will. So a few more safety things here. Robots are fun. They're fun to be around. They're fun to work on, but they can be really dangerous. So that's why we emphasize safety so much. If a person is going to turn the robot on, we just have a few procedures that we follow just to make sure that we're being safe. We want to verify that nobody is nearby, touching, or going to be in the path of the robot. We want to loudly and clearly announce enabling so that anyone nearby the robot hears that and is able to move if they need to. And then once a robot is enabled, it's also on you as an individual to make sure you're staying out of the robot's path. We do complex auto routines, we do driver practice, and it's just important to, just as a member of the team in the building, be aware of whenever the robot's operational. It's loud enough that you should be able to hear it, but that's just something that as an individual, you want to make sure that you are aware whenever the robot is on and near you. After a robot is turned or disabled, we want to announce that that robot is disabled so people can approach it to work on it or whatever they need to do with the robot. Anytime we're working on the robot, we want to make sure that it's disabled just so that no accidents happen. And we also want to make sure the robot is off if we're working on it. And then there's a light, you can kind of see it in this like GIF that's over in the corner. There's a little light on the very bottom of the robot there, an orange light. And whenever it's blinking, the robot is enabled. Whenever it's solid, the robot is disabled. So that's also an indicator of when it's clear to be around the robot in close proximity. And that's always somewhere that's pretty easily displayed, so you can always check on that before you approach the robot. And then, as with all safety things, and all things on the team really, you want to look out for yourself and others. If you say enabled or enabling and you notice that someone doesn't move away from the robot, don't just keep saying enabling, don't just turn the robot on anyway. You know, walk up to that person and say, hey, we're going to enable the robot. Would you mind stepping back a little bit? You know, just look out for each other. Some additional expectations are just that we do all things with respect, follow through, and responsibility. We always want to be on time, clean up after ourselves, be kind and empathetic, practice gracious professionalism, and be mature. And that's to anyone who's in the building and to the building itself. We don't want to commit to things unless we intend to do them. It's okay to say no. Sometimes you have to say no to things, but don't say, yes, I will be there, and then just not show up. Don't say, yes, you can be there, knowing you have a different conflict. This also goes with signing up for events and meetings. We generally want signups 24 hours in advance just because of COVID stuff. So follow through includes signing up for meetings initially, and then also communicating if you can't go to those meetings, staying focused when you're at meetings, managing your time personally, and then not leaving meetings early unless it's an emergency. In terms of responsibility, we want to own our actions, not make excuses, individually check our emails and Slack and the team calendar. If you know that an event is coming up but not sure when it is, go ahead and check those things on your own. And if it's not there, then you can ask someone about it. If you have questions, make sure you're asking them. Don't assume that nobody else has had that question or you're the only one who has that question. You can almost guarantee someone else will have the same thoughts as you. Take initiative, be honest, and advocate for yourself. Yeah, and that's all. We really just want to see respect, follow through, and responsibility from all of our mentors and all of our students. Now we'll talk about team communication a little bit. Dawn covered MIMS sign up a little bit. That's how we'll be doing several different things. So we will mostly be covering Slack here. Make sure you sign up on MIMS. We kind of have 3 forms of communication now because of MIMS. So we'll have MIMS, email, and Slack. Email is a formal communication tool, and it should be checked daily. We don't send too many emails, but you'll want to make sure you're checking for any important updates. And just from a professionalism standpoint, you want to make sure your email name is your actual name. That also helps with whoever you're emailing with. That helps them keep track of who you actually are. Teresa, for example, gets a lot of emails every day to the finance account. And just having your actual email name is really helpful to her because she knows exactly who she's talking to, exactly who she's looking for if she's searching for an old email chain. So that's helpful to everyone, not just to you. For Slack, it's the best way to contact team members. It's really good for day-to-day information and questions. And then we do have a kind of format that we prefer for your Slack names. There are 2 names on your Slack user profile. You have a full name and then a display name. The full name, we want it to be your literal full name, or it can be your full first name and last initial. And then for your display name, which is what shows up if someone tags you with the @ symbol, is your first name and last initial. Additionally, we do encourage you to add photos on Slack to your profile. Preferably, they'll be photos of you, and we do want those to be appropriate photos. But that, especially during COVID, when we aren't all in the same place very often, that can be really helpful for people to get more familiar with you and what you look like and things like that. So definitely encourage you to add photos if you're comfortable with that. And then also make sure you have your notifications on Slack. I think it's defaulted to anytime someone DMs you and anytime you get tagged in a channel, but you'll want to make sure that you have at least those notifications on, if not more. And then again, Slack is the best way to contact team members. If you have a question or anything like that, Slack's kind of the way you would want to go over email. Here we also have a couple photos of how to update your full name and display name. Should be fairly straightforward, but if you have any questions, you can always Slack someone to help you with that. And then on Slack, we have several different channels. We have general, which is team-related questions and comments. Random, which is non-team related chit-chat, memes, stuff like that. Announcements is a formal channel with emails and other important information from the student board. We do ask that the student board is the only people, the student board and mentors are the only people who post in that channel. So if someone posts in announcements and you have a question about something, you can either directly DM them or you can post that question in general and someone will be able to answer you there. We also have all of our sub-team channels. This is just a couple examples of those channels, but there's lots more. If you are on the CAD team, for example, and you're running late for a meeting, you can post in the CAD channel like, hey, I'm running a few minutes late, I'll be there at this time. or things like that. That's for sub-team specific conversations. And then we also have specific channels for like events, projects, or things like that, like Girl Scout Day, lily pad projects, other outreach events, and again, just other team specific projects. So if you are interested in one of those projects, you can join one of those additional channels. You should be able to add yourself to any channels that you're interested in. So go ahead and check out those channels, and make sure you're added to at least your sub-team's channel, so that you're getting those notifications from those channels. There's a few other kind of platforms that first teams use to communicate with each other. Chief Delphi, Twitch, and Discord are common ones. Generally, we ask that team members don't post on those channels without approval from a lead mentor. They're great resources. We really encourage you to read different topics on Chief Delphi and Discord, and watch first related content on Twitch. But we do generally ask that you refrain from posting, again, unless it's approved by a lead mentor. A lot of the time there's not really a reason to post. So that's kind of why we have that rule. People can also be kind of mean sometimes. So we just want to make sure we're putting you in positions that are best for you. So yeah. How to be an engaged team member. Some of these things have already been touched on a little bit, but we want to make sure you're asking for help if you're stuck on something. There's really nothing on this team that you need to do on your own. So we really want you to make sure you're using your mentors and your fellow team members as a resource if you're stuck on something. Actively contribute to discussions and projects. That's pretty self-explanatory. We want you to ask for new tasks if you run out of something to do. There's quite literally always something to do on this team, on any FRC team really. And so if you get through a project or need something additional to work on, or just want to work on something additionally on your own time, always ask, because there's definitely something to do. We do want you to attend meetings regularly. That was something Dawn touched on in her presentation. And it's also great whenever you come up with your own projects. It kind of shows really high engagement in our team process and in your sub-team. And it's always great when you come up with something on your own. Team projects and things like that aren't only for sub-team leads and mentors to come up with. If you have something that is interesting to you, definitely bring that up to someone and see if that's something that they can incorporate into either the build season or off season. And I touched on this one earlier, but we do want to be aware of upcoming events and meetings. Everything is communicated on Slack and email in terms of important events and meetings. You want to make sure that you're aware of those and when they're happening. And then we also encourage you to learn on your own time. We actually don't use SolidWorks anymore. We'll be using Onshape from now on, which is a cloud-based software. So that can be used at home also. Watch informational videos, read documents that other teams put out. Stuff like that can really help you be a really good team member who has a lot of contributions to the team as a whole. The last thing we will talk about here is HQ organization. Again, this is something, if you are not coming to meetings at HQ, this is not wholly applicable to you, but hopefully sometime in the future it will be applicable. Our facility is used by, like Dawn was saying, we have several different teams who use our building. So we want to make sure that we are keeping it well maintained so that it's safe. We're respecting other teams' projects. We want to be efficient, professionally, and financially sound in everything we do at the building. So that's why this is important. I'm just gonna click through all of this. So an important acronym to keeping the area clean and neat and organized So we say knock it out sometimes, which means neat, organized, and clean. So we want to make sure that things are orderly and uncluttered. Everything is organized in a systematic way. So we want to make sure we are keeping track of that. And then keep things free of dirt, dust, anything that might get spilled, things like that. We use these little like bins a lot of the time for whenever we are working on robot assemblies. That helps keep everything kind of in the same place. If we just have like bolts scattered around the floor, they're bound to get like kicked under things, stepped on, stuff like that. And that's stuff that we definitely want to avoid as much as possible. Cleanliness is really important to safety. Anytime we spill something, we want to make sure we're getting it cleaned up right away so that we don't have any like tripping hazards or anything like that. Particularly all of this, the neat, organized, and clean is all really important, particularly once we start getting stressed out at competitions or during the build season and things like that. People start to be a little bit less aware of their surroundings. And so it's most critical that we keep things neat, organized, and clean during those times of year, and in addition to all year. And again, anytime we make a mess, we want to clean that up right away. Stop laughing at me. Cleanliness is also important to a respectful work environment. We want to put things away whenever we're done with them so that someone else can use them right away. And that goes hand in hand with keeping something clean or leaving it how you found it so that other people don't have to waste their time cleaning up after you. And keeping our facility in order also shows that we have a respect for the contributions that everyone makes to our team. So that includes our sponsors, our mentors, our team members. We want to be respectful of their time and their donations to this team. Keeping things clean is also efficient. If we know where something is, we can get it when we need it, where we need it, and what we need. So it's win-win-win. These are fun acronyms that John came up with. Additionally, a clean workspace helps improve morale. If we are not able to find what we need, where we need, and when we need, it can be really frustrating if you can only be at a meeting for an hour and you have an important project you have to work on. You don't want to be searching for what you need to finish that project. And it's just generally bad for morale to work in a dirty work environment. A clean facility also helps demonstrate our attention to detail and pride in our work. We have a lot of, I guess not so much now, but generally we have a lot of people coming in and out of the building, future mentors and sponsors, current and future students and their parents, anyone who's attending summer camps. We have other teams who sometimes come to our building. So we want to make sure that we're keeping things tidy, looking good, so that people don't come in and think that we're a messy team. Additionally, we want to keep things clean because it costs money not to. If something is stepped on, if we lose something, if equipment is dirty or not well maintained, it can wear out early. If we are knocking things off of tables or knocking things onto other things, all of those things can cost money. So we want to make sure that we are keeping things tidy. And just to touch on important notes, we want to keep our workspaces in order using bins when we can, put things away when we're done with them, identify areas where we can improve if you see it, and then encourage others to keep a tidy workspace as well. If you know your friend's leaving a meeting and they haven't put their project away, you want to make sure you're helping them clean and making sure they're getting that cleaned up before they leave for the day. And we do generally ask before you leave HQ, just ask a mentor what you can do to help clean up for the night. Even if you're leaving a meeting before the official end time, there's almost always something that you can help clean up before you leave. So make sure you spend some time at the end of the meeting helping keep your area clean. We linked some of these earlier, but these are some places where you can get information on FRC and other FRC teams. And then we also have a couple upcoming events that you guys have received emails and Slack messages about. So this Friday from 8:30 to 9:30, we have our virtual game night, which is for new members and sub-team leads. So that'll be super fun. There is a link to sign up in your email and on Slack. And then we also have our virtual team trivia night, which will be the following Friday, October 16th, and that'll be for the whole team. So those will both be super fun, kind of morale building events. So we hope that you will check those out. Just like the previous presentation, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw those in chat and Matthew will get to them. And he'll also resend the link to the, he'll post the link to the sign up for the game night in the chat as well in a moment. Well, thanks again to everyone for joining us tonight. Let's see. Matthew, did you have anything you wanted me to add? Are you good? So for Slack, you should receive an email invitation. We can only invite you via your email address. So if you have not received an invitation yet, go ahead and send Anjana or Matthew a DM with your email address, and they'll get you added as soon as possible. Oh yeah, sorry, they'll send you an email invitation and you'll accept. Oh yeah, okay, sorry. So you'll have to email the team account because you aren't on Slack. So if you are not on Slack yet, send an email to our team email account and someone will get back to you with a Slack invitation.
All right, so thanks everybody for coming. We are so glad that you were here. Again, if you have any questions, please email us or Slack us, and we are more than happy to answer those. We will also send out an email with things like the link to MIMS, the link to who you ask about sponsorship and finances. We hope to see, especially all of you rookies, on Friday night. I think it'll be really great for you guys to get to know some more people. And people that have been on the team for a while. It's always helpful to know. So thank you guys for being here, and hopefully we will see you soon. Have a good evening.